The scarlet gates of the royal mews glide, shut every evening with a discreet metallic sigh, sealing away a world the cameras rarely breach. Sweating leather harnesses drying on cedar racks, polished pole chains hung like silver vines, and a dim laneway where colossal horses drowse beneath varnished nameplates that read as proudly as military decorations: Tyrone, Athena, Meg, Storm. Tonight one of those nameplates has been unscrewed, its brass cooled by the chill of finality. A stable hand ties a plain cotton lead rope, not the crimson silk reserved for coronations, and guides a towering grey gelding through an arch that once echoed to the roar of coronation crowds. His ears flick forward, attentive as ever, but the human beside him draws a breath that trembles. After 14 unbroken years of state duty, Tyrone, 18 hands of disciplined thunder, is leaving the stage. He is not lame, not ill, not sent away in disgrace. He has simply earned what kings seldom grasp: permission to age in peace. Echoes in the yard where history sleeps. The yard he departs has witnessed revolutions cloaked in ceremony. There, in 1937, freshly painted footboards rattled beneath the weight of George VI's hastily reforged crown. In 1947, white satin shoes peeped from Princess Elizabeth's wedding dress, as she practiced mounting a carriage in sideways rain. In 2023, camera booms dipped like hungry herons while Charles III ran a linen-gloved palm along Tyrone's granite-flecked neck, whispering, "Steady, old boy. The world is watching." Those hoofprints have overlapped until time became palimpsest. Yet no hoof struck quite so deep as Tyrone's on the 6th of May 2023, the coronation day that tested every buckle, every tendon, every nerve in London's titan throat. 8 Windsor Greys dragged the 4-ton gold state coach through streets raucous with history. Tyrone, nearest the right rear wheel, felt the triumphal axle shudder whenever the crowd's roar sloshed down Pall Mall. Cameras caught the flecks of sweat darkening his withers, but not the quiet calculation in those dark eyes. Angle the shoulders, lean into the traces, match the rhythm, carry the crown. That same crown is now in a glass cupboard while its bearer fights a silent skirmish with rogue cells. Across the courtyard, a horse prepares for a parchment-quiet country life. Bloodlines tempered in royal thunder. Tyrone's story begins before he drew breath, his dam selected for calmness under artillery salutes, his sire chosen for a stride long enough to devour them all in 20 measured beats. His father, Storm, once carried Queen Elizabeth II past 10,000 Union Jacks. Storm's statue now watches Windsor's long walk, ears pricked to marble eternity. Tyrone's sister Meg retired early after a tendon tear, her stall now perfumed with shavings instead of pipe-band gunpowder. Blood, bone and training converged into a living artifact, a creature bred for the singular tension of pageant, rigid choreography veined with unpredictable crowds. At 3 years old Tyrone first heard the crack of a household cavalry trumpet, and did not flinch. At 5, he trotted beneath Buckingham's balcony glare for trooping the colour, and flicked an ear as if to say, "Is that all?" At 7, he stood motionless while artillery thundered 62 rounds in Green Park to welcome the King of Spain, his steel shoes vibrating like tuning forks on London tarmac. Grooms whispered, "We've found our near-wheeler." A life measured in silk-clad miles. 14 service years translate into over 900 ceremonial miles at harness, distance enough to pull the monarchy from Windsor to Vienna. Each mile carried silent burdens, the tension of unwritten protocol, the pulse of a monarch seated behind, the expectation of global broadcast perfection. State visits demanded inch-perfect halts before horse guards parade. Presentation of credentials required gliding dignity along the mall while ambassadors tried not to faint under plumed hats. Royal Ascot called for high-head carriage work, silver coach lamps sparkling above seas of top hats, the shout of bookmakers swallowed under clapping hooves. Then came pageantry's darkest duty, funeral processions. Twice Tyrone escorted a gun carriage bearing a soldier slain in Afghanistan. Once he stood scented with pine disinfectant, while the late Duke of Edinburgh's Land Rover hearse rolled past. The drums were muffled, yet he felt them through iron shoes, each beat an instruction: stay steady, hold the nation's grief between blink and breath. Coronation, the moment steel met gold. But if funerals taught stillness, coronations demanded thunder. Dawn on the 6th of May 2023 revealed London draped in bleachers, and anticipation. Tyrone's groom plaited his manner into gleaming scallops, whispered Psalm 21, the king shall rejoice. At 10:20 a.m., the gold state coach creaked forth. Television commentators extolled gilded tritons. Tyrone felt only the girth tighten, and the first tug of 40-foot traces. Crowds pressed against barriers, mobile phones glittered like a second sky. 250,000 faces, yet his world narrowed to the heartbeat in leather beneath his shoulder. Hoofbeats reverberated off Whitehall stone, percussion for a ceremony older than steam. Near Admiralty Arch a stray balloon popped, onlookers jolted, but Tyrone's ear merely swiveled. No misstep, no break in rhythm. At Westminster he halted on a sixpence. 3 hours later, he hauled 4 tons uphill to Buckingham, foam flecking his chest, eyes liquid with exhaustion, but unbroken. He had pulled kings before, diamond jubilees, state openings, but never with the raw immediacy of a crown still warm from oil of chrism. The invisible price of perfection. Such composure extracts payment. Ceremonial harness weighs nearly 40 kilos, the pole chains bruise shoulders, iron shoes heat against London asphalt. Between events, Tyrone's regimen resembled an athlete's: water treadmill sessions for tendon elasticity, red light therapy for lactic acid, physiotherapy to release the neck muscles clenched by gilded collars. The royal farrier tracked hoof angles in Excel spreadsheets. A nutritionist adjusted linseed ratios against winter chill. Yet heroism cannot indefinitely outrun time. In early 2025, microlesions in a suspensory ligament suggested risk, not lameness, but the whisper of future pain. The vet's report landed on the master of the horse's desk beside another, human file, the king's latest oncology update. 2 faithful bodies, equine and royal, nudging against mortal boundary. Decisions became inevitable. The day the bridle was hung. The 3rd of August 2025, a date unremarkable to commuters, but seismic within the muse. Palace social channels posted a single image: Tyrone, ears forward, plaits removed, nuzzling a groom's breast pocket for peppermints. Caption: after 14 years of exemplary service, Windsor Grey Tyrone begins his retirement today. May his pastures be green. Heart emojis cascaded into comment threads, yet within the stable block silence reigned save for the soft rustle of fresh straw. Tradition dictates that retiring greys walk the length of the courtyard one last time, naked of harness, hooves echoing a valedictory beat. Grooms lined shoulder to shoulder, some saluted, others merely blinked hard. A trailer stood waiting, not the gleaming parade lorry, but a plain white box bound for the Horse Trust in Buckinghamshire, where paddocks roll beneath Chiltern beech trees. Tyrone paused at the ramp, nostrils flaring at the unfamiliar scent of meadow rather than metropolis. A groom stroked the blaze between his eyes, whispered thanks for coronations, jubilees, midnight rehearsals lit by flood lamps. Tyrone stepped aboard, the ramp folded, the latch clicked, a door closing on an era. King Charles watches from a window. Across the palace quadrangle, curtains shifted. The king, pallor drawn by recent treatments, watched the trailer ease through Cumberland Gate. He recalled the vibration of hoofbits under the gold coach floorboards, the moment his own reflection flickered in the polished flank of the near-wheeler. Monarchs depend on living symbols: grenadier bearskins, yeoman warder halberds, Windsor grey horses. When one retires, something intimate in the machinery pauses. Charles murmured, steady onward, then turned back to briefing papers about sustainable agriculture, trying to harness his reign with Tyrone's same quiet resolve. Pastures, memory, and a statue in bronze. At the Horse Trust the trailer doors swung wide onto sunlight-soaked paddocks. Storm, stiff with age but still majestic, nickered from a shelter, Meg tossed her head, recognizing shared blood. Tyrone stepped onto soft chalky turf, tentative at first, like a courtier removed from ceremony, but soon lowered his muzzle to buttercups. No crowds, no trumpets, just the wind ruffling a manner once shellacked for state occasions. Back in Windsor, tourists pose under Storm's bronze likeness. Few notice the small plaque recently screwed beside Tyrone. Windsor Grey, served 2011 to 2025. Coronation horse to Their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla. Strength in silence. Bronze endures, grass grows, hoofbits fade but never quite vanish. What the quiet exit reveals. A horse retires, and Britain glimpses the mechanics beneath the spectacle. Uniforms may glitter, trumpets may herald, but pageantry rests on the literal backs of living beings, some human, some equine, who cannot be replaced by motorcade or hologram without tearing the fabric of continuity. Tyrone's departure underscores an unspoken royal contract. Service must be rewarded not only with ceremony, but with compassion. The same ethic guiding palliative royal physicians guided the veterinarians, who refused to push one more parade out of fatigued tendons. Legacy on four hooves. Years hence, another foal will be measured, trained, braided, and taught to halt before the sovereign's entrance without a tremor. He will inherit Tyrone's harness, perhaps even his stall. Yet in some recess of royal memory, and on 1,000 souvenir coronation mugs, an image endures. A granite-dappled giant towing 4 tons of gilded history while Westminster's bells smashed against a spring sky. If future crowds gasp at the shimmer of the gold state coach, they will be applauding not only the crown, but the quiet, bass-note heartbeat of a grey horse who taught Britain that power, at its most graceful, moves with measured strides and retires with humility. Wordlessly, Tyrone showed what service looks like when nobody is watching, patience under weight, dignity in repetition, and the grace to step aside before glory curdles into pain. His hoofprints may fade beneath London traffic, but their rhythm still echoes in royal marble, reminding sovereign and subject alike that tradition's truest strength is the mercy to let its champions rest.